We'll talk it out. We'll figure it out. It's a chunk of three, so it doesn't matter what happened on it. Just cover the events.
I'm like thinking about things I liked from the issues, and I'm like, wait, did that happen here? Did that happen
Yeah,
there?
I know. I like kept a running summary on the bottom of these notes because I just change them for each week, so it's all been there for me. Because I read two of them this week and one of them last week. Cat, get out of there, fucker. All right, here we go. All right, we are back, guys. This is the Midpoint Marvelous Facts. Before we get off to a little Avengers talk and some Infinity Countdown talk, kind of the big things going on right now. So we got two characters spotlighted in books. We're gonna give you a little background on, help you out if they're not familiar with you. So Proteus is going to be our first one. We just chatted about him a little bit in Proteus. My bad. Proteus in Astonishing X-Men #8. He popped up in the beginning of that issue, and he was created by Chris Claremont and John Bryan. His first appearance was in X-Men #119, March 1979, and he goes by the real name of Kevin McTaggart. He's a psionic being composed of energy that is a vaguely human form with no physical characteristics, yet he is still powerful in it. He's got some reality warping abilities. He can manipulate energy and matter in a limited area around himself with a thought. My cat's touching the goddamn TV. I'm about to kick it. Telepathic immunity. He is invisible to telepathic scans and most detection devices. He's got some dimensional teleportation abilities. He can shift between realities. And he is, like Trevitt said, vulnerable to metal, which can disrupt his energy field. So Wolverine is his worst enemy, basically. Probably a little bit of Magneto as well. So he doesn't want to mess with those characters. I don't know. He doesn't have a whole lot of craziness. I like to try to pull out something crazy that they did. There's not a whole lot of craziness surrounding him. But he's just been a long time X-Men villain dating back to the 70s. So yeah, I don't know. You got anything to add about Proteus there?
No, I don't got much. I was looking him up earlier, but he only shows up here and there throughout history.
He doesn't have like a long, super long history, and
no,
he gets dealt with and then comes back at a later date for a limited amount of time and then disappears again. So yeah, he's not super exciting, but he's not somebody I was overly familiar with. So I figured we'd include him. Second one, I don't know how much spotlight we give him because behind the sauce we already recorded Infinity Countdown, but I don't know how much spotlight we give him when we talk about the issue. I think we glance over him and mention him at the end, but the guy that appears in the beginning of that issue looks like just a nobody with an Infinity Stone is called Mr. Turk. So Turk Barrett. He's really just a small-time crook that operates out of Hell's Kitchen. He's created by Roy Thomas and Gene Colan, and first appeared in Daredevil 69, shout out, 69, in October of 1970. So, he's just been a long-time goon hanging around the Marvel Universe, who's currently in possession of the Mind Gem, I believe, correct?
Some strange reason.
I wrote Time Gem down there. I don't think that's right, though. I think my mind just drifted off while I was typing.
Yeah, I think it is the Mind Gem.
Yeah, because he was like reading the dealer's mind, playing blackjack. So he's amassing some Luciano for something. I'm not quite sure. We'll find out. I'm sure coming up shortly. But yeah, I mean, it would not a whole lot of craziness involved in his life either. He's usually just working as a dude for Kingpin or somebody along those lines. He's had it out with Hammerhead once or twice. I don't know, just a bother in the Marvel universe, really. Who's a goon? That's about it. He's got a gem, so we'll find out what he's up to, I guess. You got anything to add about Turk Barrett there? Who's he play in the who plays him in the TV shows? Do you know the actor's name?
Some no-name actor. I can look it up right now, actually.
Okay. I mean, it's not super important. I just thought it was somebody you remembered offhand.
I think it's funny that Rob Morgan is the guy who plays Turk Barrett in Daredevil, Luke Cage, the Defenders and Punisher. He was in every single one of those.
Yeah, he keeps popping up, so he's mildly important in Netflix, I guess. You might know him more from that than his comic book appearances, I guess you could say. But
Yeah.
we're gonna go off now. We're gonna talk a little Avengers, and then I'm gonna slide some Infinity Countdown in after this Avengers talk. In case you're wondering about the course of things, we did not skip Infinity. It'll be there for you. But just for editing purposes, so it's easier for me. I don't got to cut after the midpoint facts then. But yeah, so we got 3 issues to talk about here. We got 679, which basically filled us in on the second big bad that was kind of a mystery, and he was revealed to be a gentleman called the Challenger, who's in competition with the Grand Master, and the relationship that, you know, those two have a history between each other. And then we got kind of the rules behind these pyranoids or pyramids or whatever they're called in the game that's being played between the two and the stakes at hand. So
Yeah, it was a big info dump issue.
yeah, basically Grandmaster shit all over Challenger, and Challenger's back for revenge.
Screwed him.
Challenger, I forget who's in control of who. Challenger is in control of the Legion.
He's in control. Challenger chose the Black Order, which
Okay.
I really love that they use Secret Wars to explain everything, to explain why Challenger was able to come back.
Yeah, it's basically the same thing with Voyager a little bit.
Yeah, and I was a little
got moved.
I was a little mad about like Corvus Glaive. He died in Thanos. Thanos kills him, but then he's back here, and they explain that they bring him back. And I was like, all right, well, that's cool. So at least they just they didn't ignore. This is the issue where all the little threads and all the questions you had are all tied together. You know?
Yeah, you find out, you know, essentially what everybody is up to, as far as the bad guys and their plans for everybody. Which then brings us to 680, and we start dealing with the fallout from Johnny Storm's death. And it features a lot of narration by Rogue, who starts, you know, getting super pissed off, and decides to, instead of, you know, react emotionally, to use that emotion as revenge on the Black Order for quote unquote killing Johnny Storm. She ends up putting her fist right through Corvus Glaive, right? That's who she kills.
Yep. Yeah. She
and kind of like
arm right through him.
Yeah, she absorbs all his power and starts understanding what's going on through, you know, what she understands from his mind. At the same time, the other heroes, I think it's Scarlet. Oh no, that's in 681. My fault. Wonder Man then is kind of hanging out with Beast and Wasp #2. And they try to get him to use like his powers to suck what they think is some radiation out of Jarvis to kind of heal him, and he breaks the news to them that it's not radiation that's fucking with Jarvis.
Yeah.
And then
that made sense, right?
Yeah. And I understood what they were talking about there.
He's their butler, and like after all these crazy missions in space or the negative zone or wherever, they bring home all these like particulates and leftovers, you know, and Jarvis is just this regular human guy walking around, like he's absorbing all that shit over the years. Of course it would fuck him up eventually, right?
Yeah, but they find out that's not what's kind of fucking with him. So Wonder Man can't really do anything, and they're left basically back where they started. Then we get Wasp #1, who makes a brief appearance, gets unfrozen because Johnny was frozen, even though they think he's dead, and she comes to help them fight because there needs to be like a set number of heroes on the board, something along those lines. So then we come to 681, and 681 is basically like an info dump on the Legion a little bit, kind of mainly their leader. He's like the narrator of most of the story, and that's when the second group. I can't keep all those new characters' names straight in the Legion. That's when the second group of characters also kind of find out what's going on, that it's all just a game that's being played and run by Grandmaster and this Challenger dude, and the Black Order and the Legion are the people playing the game, and the heroes are kind of in the way and getting frozen and blah 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 blah. Basically that issue and 679 both end with my favorite parts of the series so far, which have been two teases of one like Bruce Banner talking to himself, and then the second one, Hulk starts digging his way out of a hole in Las Vegas where he's apparently been stuck since Secret Empire ended, when he was unleashed on the heroes by Captain America. So yeah, we're gonna find some stuff out about the Hulk. I think that's what, 682, 681. I'm not sure which one that is. 681, I think.
I know he's on the cover though. I know that.
Yeah, it's been advertised in every issue. If you've picked up a book lately, it's that cover. It's coming soon, so we'll be seeing some Hulk, and that's what I'm excited for in this series. We got a little bit of Hawkeye, and who was he with in 681?
Red Wolf.
Red Wolf, yep. So they showed up too at the end there. I'm not sure if they were frozen and they got unfrozen or not.
No, they weren't frozen.
Okay. So they showed up to help
people.
Yeah, they showed up to help one of the groups of heroes at the end there as well. And that's basically the rundown of what we got there. So yeah, I mean, it's a weekly series. It's hard to keep track of what went down in what issue, but I think we did at least a decent job of summing it up. I might have mixed up a little bit there. But yeah, you kind of get like a main narrator that's different in each issue, and then there's a bunch of fighting that goes on and a couple developments. So it's a little formulaic. It's not awful. It's not. What'd you say?
Origin. We got Voyager's Origin, which was nice.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Voyager's Origin. So you find out where she got her powers from. It was basically an experiment her dad was running. She tripped into. And you get a little more explanation on her powers and kind of how they work and how she needs to recharge them every little bit. So yeah, a little more explanation about her was in one of those. I forget which one, 80 or 81. I think it was 80. 680. 81. Okay.
What,
so
yeah, it was at the end of 81.
Okay. So yeah, that's what's happened the last three, and that brings us up to what part are we on this week? 8? Is it part 8?
Yeah.
So we're at the midway
second
point
half.
now.
Yeah, the second half.
And yeah, it should start ramping up here. Everybody, I think, the score is even if you're counting who's got what pyramids. The heroes have one, the Black Order has one, and the Legion all have one. I think that's all we have so far. 3 out there.
No, I think they have 2. One team has 2, I believe.
Somebody is 2.
I think the Lethal Legion. I think the Black Order has 2.
I thought the cliffhanger ended. We don't know what happened to that 4th one yet.
Because what's her name? Which one?
The Antarctica one.
Yeah. That one got taken. The one where the blue one, the ice one. I think that one got taken by the. Oh God, I can't remember her name. It's one of the Black Order. The woman who like phases.
Well, then the Black Order would have 2 then.
Yeah, they have 2, and that's why the Lethal Legion, there's less of the Black Order than there is of the Lethal Legion, but they're ahead in points.
Yeah, so okay, then I don't know if the heroes are counting, if they count the score when the heroes get one or not, but they ended up with one. The Legion has one, and we think we're pretty, I would say 80% positive. The Black Order has the lead right now, so they're 2-1.
Yeah, they do have the lead.
But yeah, I don't know. You like it more than I do. I would say it's firmly a borrow for me. The whole game thing. I just don't think there's a whole lot of stakes I'm interested in the event. I keep reading it, tuning in. I'm waiting for Hulk to come back, see how that all goes down. So that's what I'm pumped for, and I might like it a little more when that happens. But yeah, I would say borrow. I think it depends. Mileage may vary on if you like the characters in it, and I don't know if you feel like investing in a weekly at $3.99. So I think those factors will determine what you get out of it, and I don't know. So I'm judging borrow for now.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it. The more I read it, it's very tightly continuity wise. It's very tightly planned. Like they really the info dump issue, I feel like Al Ewing had to do with that a lot, because he's I mean, Mark Waid knows a lot about Marvel history and history of comics in general, but Al Ewing is like the fucking master of Marvel continuity, and just like everything's just so tightly wrapped into the continuity. I really enjoyed it. The art in this block of issues by Kim Jacinto is just fucking fantastic. Like, he has like a similar style to Olivier Coipel a little bit, and he did some of the fill-in work on Unworthy Thor, and you almost couldn't tell the difference. And there are some really like breathtaking fucking dynamic panels in these issues when it comes to the action. Like, it just looks so goddamn good. Like, I'm flipping through all the issues the whole time we've been talking about it, and like some pages I could just stare at forever. Like, they just look so damn good. They did need a little help from Mike Perkins to add the last issue, 681, but it wasn't too noticeable. Like, Mike Perkins did a good job of kind of conforming to the feel of the issue, of the style. Like, it's not too far off that it's like, Jesus, what the fuck happened from this page to that page? You know what I mean? You might almost not notice it. I loved fucking Rogue killing Corvus Glaive and then taking, like, holding the staff, and that's how she got her information of absorbing everything that he knew about the game. I like that every issue they take the time to give you a different character. You know what I mean? Like, you see things from you know where they were before this, why they're here. I love that the Lethal Legion, they, Captain Glory in his fucking inner dialogue explained everything about why they're here. You know what I mean? Like, every single one of them was taken from a situation where they were going to die. So like, Captain Glory's flying, he's about to get shot, and right before he gets shot, he gets taken, so he took all these people and gave them the name of Lethal Legion after the bad guys from Earth. So that was pretty cool. So they have certain death to face, and if they win, they don't have to go back to certain death. But if they lose, they go back to those death situations. So they all die if they lose. So they're basically fighting for their lives. So they have something to fight for. You know what I mean? And I wonder what happens when the fucking heroes win. Are they gonna? Nobody wins, right? The Earth goes back to where it was. Yeah. The Challenger has to go, because the Challenger, if he loses, he has to go back to where he was, like trapped outside of reality forever and like laying in blackness. And if the Challenger wins, the Grand Master has to go there. But if the heroes win, I don't know what happens then. Does the Challenger have to go back there, or do they both get to stay? Because it's kind of like, something they didn't plan for. But overall, it's just a lot of fun. Now, at $4.99, $3.99 every week can be a little pricey. What's that for you? $16 a month. Yeah. Normally when you're talking about an Avengers book, you just spend fucking $4 once a month. But it is a little pricey. Is it worth the price? That's the question. That's such a hard thing. Like, I would spend the money. I know I would. I've really enjoyed it. There's nothing like right now that would make me drop it. The continuity is tight. The action is awesome. Everything's been explained. The rules, they're not stupid. I love the kind of the back matter of the book where they explain like certain timelines and of the characters that show up, or Marvel history, or they talk about their favorite runs of Avengers. That's pretty interesting. I like that Hawkeye showed up in his full costume at the end of the last issue. We haven't right? When was the last time you saw Hawkeye show up in full fucking costume like that? It's been a long time. So that was pretty cool. I can't wait to see what happens next. And I can't wait for Hulk to come back too. That's going to be really awesome. But like you said about the stakes, that is a problem that that's like the only problem that I have with the book is the stakes, because I just kind of feel like the good guys are going to win.
Yeah, like the Challenger, and the thing that ruins it for me more than anything is like the Challenger Grandmaster game. Like, if that reveal was saved for the very end and it was just these two teams just fighting amongst different spots on Earth, then you didn't really know why. And I think that mystery would have been cooler than them revealing that right away, because that kind of sucked the fun out of it for me a little bit. But
I think that would have drove people crazy if they did that. Like, not in a good way. because that was
Yeah,
one of
no,
the
I
problems
know
we
it. I
had with
just
it
wish there was
when we
basically
read the
a
first.
different reason for it
Because when
than
we read the
Challenger.
when we covered the first 3 or 4 issues, that was one of our biggest complaints was that we didn't get any information about like what was going on, who was the other guy, what was this game all about. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. That's just my one beef with it. Like the freaking when I see Challenger and Grandmaster, I'm just like, I don't know. They kind
but
of ruin
I
things
mean,
for me. But
maybe that's why there aren't going to be like 5 Avengers teams after this is over. Like we got Jason Aaron's Avengers, but that's the only Avengers book. So it's like, who knows what
yeah,
happens to
I
these guys
like
when this is
that.
over, right?
I'll enjoy that a little more. It'd be
That's
easier to keep track of the Avengers line.
that's a good thing is that the solicits don't ruin the end of this because we don't know what happens to any of these characters now because no solicit or no book has been announced with any of them really in it. So like we don't even know what's going to happen. I
Yeah.
like that. That's nice.
All right, so we're gonna go off to the end here, guys. We're gonna wrap it up for you. We're gonna tell you what we're covering next week. We're gonna recap how to get a hold of us. So if you are looking to write something in, shout at us for a book we haven't covered in a while. We'll be happy to do that for you guys. You can do it again on Twitter. It's at Madness Marvel 1. Gmail would be marvelmadness0@gmail.com. So you can do that either way. They're both checked. We'll get back to you. But yeah, we got 3 books coming next week. We're gonna let Avengers build up for a couple weeks. Before we talk about that, Spider section will be Spectacular Spider-Man 300. X section, Trevor's chosen all new Wolverine 31. So best of the bunch there. It's a tough IVX week.
Oh my God.
If you're an X fan. But yeah, Wolverine's usually not bad. So we'll go with that. And then Hero Book, one of the podcast favorites. We're gonna go with Thanos, number 16. Talk about that, and that's about it. So yeah, like I said, we're gonna skip the event section for next week. Let Avengers build up a little bit because it's a weekly book, and we'll come back with another Avengers recap when we got 2 or 3 issues to discuss. But that's it for episode 42, guys. Thank you for listening. Shout at us throughout the week. You know where to find us, but we're out of here and we will talk to you next week. Later.
Peace.